Hey, thanks so much for tuning in. We here at Sandberg Student Services Leadership Team strive to help students plan for life after high school, and we hope that this podcast can be a tool for evaluating your post-secondary options and opportunities. We hope you enjoy.
Hello, Sandberg. My name is Thais.
And I'm Leo.
And we're here with Moraine Valley representative, Miss Peggy Heenan. To start off, would you like to explain the role that you play in the Moraine Valley community?
Sure, absolutely. And thank you for having me here today. So I've actually been part of the Moraine Valley admissions team for about 9 years now. And for the last 4 or 5 years, I've actually been the primary contact person in the admissions office at Moraine Valley for Sandberg students that are going to be attending Moraine Valley. So considering that anywhere from about a quarter to a third of Sandberg seniors do come to Moraine Valley after they graduate, I see a lot of students and families. And of course, among the things that I help them with is walking them through the admissions process and the onboarding process to get them set as students, and also just answering any questions they need answered about Moraine Valley. In the years that I've been at the college, I've been able to, develop a very broad general knowledge across the spectrum of the college and make a lot of contacts in various departments and so forth. So I can answer a lot of students and families' questions, but if I'm not able to address a real specific question, then I always know who to go to get the answer to the question, get back to the student family. Or in a lot of cases, it may be that it's best that those questions are addressed specifically by the faculty or staff member, and so I make those connections and make sure that the student families get their questions answered. So essentially, that's my role.
That's awesome. Would you like to explain the application process for incoming freshmen?
Yes, absolutely. So the process of getting enrolled as a student at Moraine Valley is a pretty streamlined one. So there's basically just a few steps. Student submits their admissions application. It's basically filling out our application. Students do not have to send transcripts, letters of recommendation, anything like that. They're essentially filling out the admissions application, and they're automatically in our system. We will ask for test scores, SAT or ACT scores, but that's for placement purposes only, so helping to determine what students are going to be best placed in terms of their first semester courses. So if a student is at college level in English, reading, and math, based on SAT scores or ACT scores, then they kind of exempt from the next step, which would be taking a placement test to kind of make sure that they're appropriately placed in their first semester courses. Of course, we always want students, like any college, to make sure that they are taking advantage of any financial aid that they might be available by completing the FAFSA, makes them eligible for any federal or state grants, because that can help obviously significantly lower the cost of attendance. And after that, really the final step before students are able to actually register for classes and create a class schedule is they go through a 2-part new student orientation. And the second part of that orientation, they're actually on campus meeting with our academic advisors who help them create an individual education plan for the program they're going to be in at Moraine Valley, whether that's a transfer program or one of our career degree certificate programs, give them guidance specifically on what courses they would want to start with for their first semester, and they can at that point register for seats in classes and be on their way.
All right. So from a financial standpoint, what are some of the benefits of attending a community college like Moraine Valley?
From a financial standpoint overall, the cost of attendance is significantly less. So it's generally about a third of the cost of most public, particularly in-state universities, private universities. It's even a bigger cost savings. And then, of course, because of that, any financial aid that a student is eligible for is going to go farther. So students, especially with higher need through what's shown through their eligibility with federal and state aid, and a lot of times those higher need students, their entire tuition fees and sometimes even books are paid for at Moraine Valley. So right now, a full-time student attending Moraine Valley, tuition and fees are about $4,500 a year. That's before any financial aid is applied or scholarships. The college also does offer a number of scholarships through our foundation, so students are eligible for that. I would say the best one for incoming freshmen is definitely our Distinguished Scholar Award, and that's an award that allows any student that lives within our district, attending an in-district school like Sandburg, they're graduating in the top 10% of their senior class. They have the opportunity to essentially come to Moraine Valley tuition free. So they can take up to 15 credit hours per semester, covers tuition, and that's for fall, spring. So they're essentially, pretty much getting their associate degree paid for. So that represents a huge savings.
Wow. In terms of academics, do students take classes only related to their major, or are there other required classes needed to earn a degree?
Well, it depends on what the student's goal is. So if a student, which is probably 3/4 of our students, are coming to Moraine Valley on their way to a 4-year school to complete a bachelor's degree. So those students are essentially taking the general education requirements that they need for pretty much any bachelor's degree, as well as some major-specific electives. Students that are enrolling in our career degree and certificate programs, they are really taking more major-specific, so to speak, courses, fewer gen eds, and then more of those specific career skill areas.
And then what are some of the benefits of obtaining an associate's degree?
There's a couple different ones. One of them is for transfer students, particularly if students are looking at 11. There's 11 colleges in the state of Illinois that have what's called a compact agreement with Moraine Valley, and those schools essentially will accept our Associate of Arts, our liberal arts degree, transfer degree, and our Associate of Science transfer degree as having fulfilled all of the general education lower division requirements that they need for a bachelor's degree at that school. So essentially they are transferring at junior standing. Those include most of the state schools, the public universities, with the exception of U of I, Urbana-Champaign, does include U of I in Springfield, but Eastern, Northern, ISU, and as well as Governor State, St. Xavier, those are among some of those schools. The other reason is, and I've seen this happen a lot, where students will transfer from Moraine Valley before they actually complete the associate degree, and they get to that 4-year school, and sometimes life happens, and they have to stop out. Either for financial reasons, health reasons, whatever it happens to be. If they have their associate degree before they transfer, then if they have to wait a while before they can complete that bachelor's degree, they have an actual degree to put on a resume as opposed to just a transcript that shows a lot of different college courses that they've taken. So employers can look at that a little bit differently. So there's an edge there.
Would you be able to talk about the career certificate programs at Moraine Valley, such as nursing or other popular ones?
Yeah, we currently have over 130 different career degree and certificate programs. So, more and more students are, looking at their options, and they're looking and when they do their research, and they see that there's a growing number of fields, particularly in health science and technology, IT areas, where they can actually get a pretty good entry-level job into certain career fields with just an associate degree or some type of specialized industry certification. So I would say among the most popular programs at Moraine for that are health sciences, nursing probably being number one, also radiology and respiratory therapy, emergency medical services, paramedic training we offer, and fire science. So we actually have a real fire academy on campus, criminal justice, but there's also a number of students that are going into programs like early childhood education. So we do have that program. We have a sign language certificate program, and then also in the IT area, cybersecurity or IT security is a growing popular choice for a lot of those career program students.
All right. Would you be able to talk a little bit about the Engineering Pathways program that is associated with the University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign?
Sure, that's a great partnership program we have with UIUC, and essentially what it allows a student to do who's interested in getting an engineering degree through U of I, and I believe they are still ranked, I think, number 5 in the nation for College of Engineering for engineering degrees. It essentially allows that student to take the first 2 years of UIUC's engineering curriculum at Moraine Valley at Moraine Valley prices, and then they're guaranteed admission into the College of Engineering at U of I as a junior. So it's about a $30,000 cost savings. So it's a very prescriptive program. Students are pretty much in a cohort, so they get to know each other. They get to know there's a lot of very small class sizes there, so they're getting to know their instructors. They're getting opportunities for internships, meeting. We have speakers come in from various engineering fields. So if they're not quite sure what area of engineering they want to go into, they get exposure to that. But Moraine Valley also started an Associate of Engineering Science degree this year. So students that may not want to go through engineering pathways but are looking at going to another school to get an engineering degree, that degree is designed to help a student transfer to any school to complete a bachelor's degree of engineering.
How does Moraine aid students in the transfer process to a four-year school?
There's lots of different ways, and so we have what are called academic advisors at Moraine Valley that help all of our students develop plans regardless of their education goals. So students that are going to be transferring, if they're not quite sure on a major or they're not quite sure on a transfer school when they start at Moraine Valley, our advisors will help guide them to courses that are going to be the most flexible for transfer. But then what we always encourage students to try to narrow those choices down by the end of their first or second semester at Moraine. And so that way our advisors are very familiar with requirements and transfer courses for schools all over the state and the country. We have transfer guides, and we actually have a transfer center in Moraine Valley. So we have representatives from colleges and universities who specifically work with transfer students come to Moraine Valley and help our students through that step of applying to their school, accessing scholarship opportunities, and so forth. So there's a lot of ways. And then students can also on their own go to websites like itransfer.org, Transferology, and actually put in courses at Moraine Valley and see where those courses will transfer to. So students that have communication with our advisors and with the four-year school they're going to go to, it's a very seamless process.
All right. And is there any last piece of advice you'd like to give to any student considering Moraine Valley?
Well, I would say certainly for any student, Moraine Valley can make a lot of sense as a launching point for further education or for a career. I would say for students that are really undecided, and I find, just working with high school seniors that a lot of them still really aren't sure what they want to do when they leave. And so before, jumping into a commitment, for instance, with a four-year school, they want to, make sure that they're ready. A lot of students may be academically ready to start, but maybe take that step in terms of living away from home, being on their own, being independent. They might not be ready for that yet. So Moraine Valley gives them an opportunity to kind of get a little bit more used to a college environment before they transfer. And then certainly from a cost standpoint, students that are academically prepared and their families can certainly afford the four-year college for 4 years. It's great. And I always tell those students, think about Moraine Valley over the summer and take some courses with us that can transfer back to your school, saves you time and money. But overall, just kind of looking at all the different aspects and making sure that the student is ready academically in terms of all other areas before they head off to a four-year school.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. This is great.
Hi, my name is TJ Kostler. I'm the executive producer of the SSLT. Thank you so much for listening. And if you could, please visit our website and fill out our survey. Let us know how we're doing.